How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael Anselmi. Previously, I told you guys that I wanted to do some installments of some Mace training videos, how-tos, maybe show you guys some different movements you've never seen before, that sort of thing. And felt like starting it tonight. Out here in the garage, perfect space, we've got lots of room to work, so I thought I'd share some knowledge with you. To start out, we're going to talk about the most basic thing that everyone seems to forget about, and that's form, right? When you're lifting or running or swimming or any other kind of sport, there's a specific form that you've been taught that you implement for safety and maximum performance and efficiency. So to start out, if you look here, I'm not wearing any shoes. I usually like to do it barefoot because it starts building up a stronger base for anything in life. I wasn't really lifting at all and my deadlifts went up. Maybe not because I wasn't wearing shoes, but it helped build the leg strength. So let's get started. The first thing you want to think about is you're wanting to stay tight and solid throughout all of your Mace movements or Mace workout. Now, the thing I was taught was to keep your feet straight and about shoulder width apart, just a very natural stance, right? Some people may stand like this, some people may stand like this, but you want to keep your feet straight. And act like they're on some sort of track or stuck in place the whole time. Now, from here, you don't want to keep your knees locked like this. You want to kind of keep them a little loose, a little fluid, like that. Okay, and then from there, you're going to want to shoot your hips forward. So this is basically helping flex your butt, your glutes, and that sort of thing, giving you a firm base. Now, while you're flexing your butt and shooting your hips forward, you want to look down at your feet and act like you're ripping the floor apart. Now, that's not on the inside, not on the outside, just a firm base, ripping apart. You should feel it kind of up in here and down into your knees. Remember, keep those knees loose. Now, flexing our butt, we also want to flex our core. Bring those ribs to our hips. Keep it like this. Now, the tendency when you're flexing is you want to hunch and lean over. But here, we want to keep our shoulders back, and we want to keep our chin back. So we've got a really nice, solid, firm base. If anyone came over to you and started like pushing you, you'll move, but you're not going to fall over. Okay, so just a quick review, making sure you understand what I'm talking about, right? You just get in a natural place, kind of about shoulder width apart, whatever's comfortable. Now, you lock your feet in, knees loose, hips forward, butt flexed, ripping the floor apart, flex those abs, shoulders, and neck back. This is your solid stance, and it is the most important thing when being introduced to the Mace. And kind of, you see, I've got my chest up, shoulders back, can't go wrong there. Okay, now that we've learned about our base and our fundamental stance, we want to learn how to pick up the Mace safely. Now, I know a lot of times I've been picking it up kind of like this, like a matchstick, or kind of using my foot like that, and that's for later on. The most fundamental way to pick it up, the most safest, easiest way is you kind of want to use your hip as a lever. Now, this is kind of the way I was taught when I was learning the Mace, and I think it's the way that everyone should learn. So you kind of want to get the Mace in between your toes, a little bit in front of your toes, like this, and you'll squat down with it, keeping your hand up on the top of the rod. Now, you'll squat down with it and kind of put your hand behind your hip like this, put your other hand closer to the weighted end, and use your hip as a pendulum, as a lever, okay? And so from here, we've got our back in a neutral position. You don't want to be bending, you don't want to be leaning, anything like that. And you'll push this hand backwards to lift it up while supporting it with this hand, and we'll squat up. Here, just to give you guys a little bit of a different angle to see the cantilever in motion, in action. Go ahead and put the weighted end, the Mace ball, whatever you want to call it, not necessarily all the way back here, but a little bit in front of your toe line, and right in the middle, okay? Like I said before, now you got your hand up here on the opposite end of the Mace, and you want to bring it back, and you'll squat down, bring it behind your hip. We've got our back neutral, which means straight. We're not looking up, we're not arching like this, even though that's quite exaggerated, but still. And we'll support the weighted end, use our hip as a lever. I could do this without this hand, right? But to be safe, you go like this, all right? And as you stand up, you can rotate it, and you're good to go. Now, let's implement our stance into the next section so we can get going with some basic workouts. All right, guys, so let's get in our stance. Same thing we were doing without the mace, right? You want to get in that natural, about shoulder width apart, knees loose, hips forward, butt flexed, ripping the floor, abs, shoulders back, and chin back. Now from here, a nice, sturdy, supported stance is to kind of bring the weighted end in line with your arm. You don't really want it out here, though you can hold it like that. I just feel a little more comfortable, a little safer holding it here. And you want this arm to be about a 90-degree angle. Now this provides a lot of support. From here, I mean, you can kind of hold the whole thing in your hand, right? Now, from here, we're in our stance. We've got both ends supported. The most basic transitioning from hand-to-hand technique is called a ballistic curl. So basically what we're doing is we're meeting in front and we're praying. So you're sliding your right hand or whatever hand's at this end of the shaft up, while at the same time bringing this hand to the middle of your chest. So the two motions, you'll do this and you'll do this. So together, you're kind of doing like this. And we're meeting in the middle. Now, I'm exaggerating just to kind of show you, usually when you're transitioning, you're not gonna stop and hold it like this and then come down, though you could if you wanted. So from here, we're doing the exact opposite. Now, we brought, in my case, my left hand up to meet my right hand, and now we're gonna bring my left hand down while creating the support with our right hand. So we call this a ballistic curl. And in essence, if you think about it, I'm kind of curling to transition. So this is the most fundamental move. It's a good transition. And from here, we can bust into a bunch of different moves and all sorts of different things. We've got it here at the bottom. Go down, lever up. Got our feet, loose knees, butt flexed, hips forward, abs flexed, ripping the floor apart, shoulders back, chin back, and we're in our stance, okay? And now, ballistic curl. Now, a lot of people tend to kind of move like this, or they kind of do it like this, or they'll bring it up too high. Really focus on the controlled movements. I'm going pretty fast just because I've done this a lot. Now, for those of you who are just getting into Mace, never seen it before, you definitely want to take your time in perfecting this. Practice these. Sets of 50, sets of 100. Slow and controlled. Okay, now that we've perfected the ballistic curl, another way to increase difficulty, increase your workout, get the most out of this movement is trying to either rip the mace apart or squeeze it together or bend it out, bend it in, twisting, all those different types of movements. Now, you'll notice you'll begin to start working random muscles you didn't know existed. And if you've also noticed, I've started running out of breath just holding this stance as I'm sitting here talking to you. So we'll do a ballistic curl with the ripping or crushing motion. We're in our stance, floor ripped, but flexed, abs flexed, shoulders chin back. Now, as we're going up, we'll transition, and from here is when we're ripping apart and coming back down. So if you can see, my arms have tensed up. Now fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, all right? And what I like to do is give out a little that helps me tighten all the muscles more and get the most out of it. So again, ballistic curl, ripping apart, now that we've perfected the ballistic curl, let's combine that with a squat so we can get a full body workout with 2 moves. So go ahead, we'll get our mace picked up. All right, And we'll get in our stance. Me, naturally when I squat, my feet tend to go out a little bit, or my feet go a little bit wider. Try to focus on this, slow, controlled movements. And don't overexert yourself or hurt yourself. Okay, so we're in our position, right? We've got our butt flexed, abs flexed, shoulders back, chin back, Mace supported. Now from here, a lot of people tend to look up when they squat, which puts a lot of strain on your back. You want to try and find a spot on the floor, maybe low on the wall, to keep your back in a neutral position. So we've got our Mace supported and our stance good. And now we'll go squat down slowly, kind of leaning forward. That's okay. Just make sure most of the weight is on your heels. Now coming back up, push through with those hips, get back in your stance. Ballistic curl, squat, up, switch, squat. All right, to kind of give you guys a side view, I'll show you some intentional ways that we don't want to squat. And you'll definitely start feeling it maybe in your lower back if you're not doing it correctly. So, Mace stance, 90 degrees, feet in position, butt flexed, abs, shoulders, chin, and we squat, kind of looking down. And it's okay if you lean a little bit, kind of like this, as long as your spine is neutral. You've got a straight back. You don't want to be like this and leaning forward, and you don't want to be like this, leaning too far forward, because then you start feeling it in your toes and you need it in your heels. So again, our horizontal front stance like this, positioning, stance, and we'll squat down, weight dispersed in the heels like this, up, switch, Alright guys, I'm out of breath and I was just doing a tutorial video. Give it a shot, it's definitely worth it. These are the things we practice constantly to keep our base, our structure defined and sturdy. Now, thank you guys for watching, I appreciate it. Hopefully my video editing skills are good enough for the interwebs. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up. I will answer what I can. Now, I'm hoping to put a video out once a week, so stay tuned, and hopefully next week we'll get into some more advanced movements so you can expand and create your own workouts. Thanks guys, and as always, kick ass.